In Israel, protesters blocked highways, crowded train stations, and even marched on Tel Aviv's stock exchange and military headquarters as part of what is being called a day of disruption. The protests, which are expected to continue through the week, are aimed at Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the government's plan to overhaul the country's judicial system. Joining us now to talk about this and more is Rabbi Yaakov Menken, Managing Director of the Coalition for Jewish Values. Rabbi Menken, great to be with you today. For those who aren't familiar, tell us a little bit more about these protests and how concerning is the situation?
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. These protests have actually been ongoing for several months, ever since the country announced, the government announced a program of judicial reform. The Supreme Court in Israel operates without a constitution and without constitutional authority, and yet they arrogated upon themselves the ability to decide what laws are reasonable and which ones they wish to rewrite. So this was obviously something that had to happen. Unfortunately, the left has not only do they claim that they're not going to take this sitting down, but that they insist that it is the government, which is, of course, elected democratically, that by trying to rein in an unelected Supreme Court, and in fact, a Supreme Court that largely selected and has self-selected its own members, that it's reining in the Supreme Court, that's what's against democracy. Clearly, these protests are aimed to say that democracy is only right, and it's only democracy when things go our way.
Well, as we heard earlier from Owen Jensen, Israel's President Isaac Herzog met with President Joe Biden at the White House today. This after Biden spoke yesterday with Prime Minister Netanyahu about a broad range of issues. Rabbi, what do you hope will come from these talks? And also, what is the state of relations between the U.S. and Israel right now?
Well, largely the relationship is strong. I look forward to being in attendance tomorrow when President Herzog addresses Congress. And that is, of course, on Speaker McCarthy's invitation that he should come and address Congress. You should understand that the leftists who don't claim, that they're just against Israel's government and just against Israel's policies, President Herzog is actually from the left. He's part of Israel's Labor Party. He's from the party that was fighting with Netanyahu for decades. So you would think that the left, if they actually were just against Israel's government policies, would turn out to support him. But no, we're seeing just the contrary, because it's all about Israel. It's all about being a Jewish country. This is classic bigotry. And that is coming from the leftist wing of the Democratic Party. The sad thing is that these are accepted. These people expressing this type of bigotry are accepted as members in good standing of that party. With that all said, I would have to concur with those who say more reasonably that the overwhelming majority of Congress is still very supportive of the Israel relationship, and that's what we hope to see continue.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of jump off of that and say I know there are a number of members, progressive House members, that are going to be boycotting his address at Congress tomorrow. And of course, this comes after Congresswoman Jayapal made comments over the weekend claiming that Israel is a racist state, and then, of course, walking back those comments. So I'm curious, what do you think this all signals? And also, Rabbi Menken, what will be your message to those who plan to boycott tomorrow?
Well, those who are boycotting, I said in response that Ilhan Omar should just permanently stay home. That's probably the best thing that she can do right now, because she's so busy working against American values. When you look at what Representative Jayapal had to say and Representative Tlaib, they're calling Israel racist and apartheid. You look at the rest of the countries in that region of the world, it's very clear. The only reason they're saying that is because Israel is the one country in that region that also gives civil rights to Jews. It's as hateful and as bigoted as that, and that's exactly what that boycott is about. And you have to also remember, these are the same people who spent July 4th tweeting about how terrible America is. They don't want to talk to you about what the rest of the world is like. They just want to tear down first world moral democracies like America and Israel.
Rabbi Menken, great to be with you as always. Thanks for your insights. We appreciate it.
Thank you.